You know, out of all the series and the entirety of the Gundam franchise, I just, honest to God, think Gundam X just needs a lot more love. Like seriously, I guess the whole post-apocalyptic vibe it has going for it really speaks to me. I am a big Fallout fan after all. So, let's talk about a mobile suit that is so simple, it's almost completely ridiculous. Let's talk about the Daughtress. During the midst of the 7th Space War, the Space Revolutionary Army and the United Nations of Earth practically tore themselves to shreds, culminating in the Space Revolutionary Army orchestrating a colony drop on such a massive scale, Giran Zabi would have been impressed. Of course, the UNE tried to stop this with the famed Gundams and their new type pilots. However, despite their best efforts, the colonies impacted Earth, and it led to the post-apocalyptic wasteland that our cast finds themselves in the series proper. Of course, while the center focus of the UNE was their newfangled Gundams and their new type pilots, they were not the backbone of the UNE's mobile suit forces. That humble honor would go to the DT-6800 Daughtress. Standing 16.3 meters tall and weighing 7 metric tons empty, allowing it to join the Leo in this category, the Daughtress was a fairly basic and standard platform when it comes to mobile suits. Its power plant was a standard ultra-compact fusion reactor, and it's controlled by a single pilot in the chest. Its most notable feature was its trio of eye sensors on the head, and the fact that it could perform airdrop operations without needing any external parachute or extra thrusters. And that's about it.
That's it?
Yeah, I know, it's a shockingly simple suit on the whole. Its simplicity even extends to the weapons. The standard loadout comes with a simple 90mm machine gun, enough to take down most mobile suits. Next up, a shield provides protection under fire and could be treated with an anti-beam coating, and then optional weapons include a bazooka for heavy damage, and finally an optional beam saber, though these beam sabers were usually restricted to the units utilized by the new UNE during the build-up to the 8th Space War. Overall, this unit stands aside other grunts for being rather basic.
You're basic.
But this basic frame does allow for several variations upon its design. Starting us off, we have the Daughtress High Mobility type, with larger legs housing hoverjets, as well as an optional flamethrower weapon. The only major drawback of the High Mobility type was the fact that it couldn't run or jump due to its bulkier legs compared to the standard Daughtress. The Daughtress weapon is a mid-ranged artillery fire support unit that adds a 500mm cannon onto the shoulder of the Daughtress, while still allowing it to utilize standard armaments. The Daughtress Flyer was a flight-type Daughtress, and was typically launched from carriers while housing a flight unit on its backpack. The Daughtress Command was a commander-use variant that featured a new head with a larger front piece and a second antenna for enhanced communications. However, it's relatively unknown if the base performance was improved over the standard model. A command variant of the High Mobility Daughtress also existed, which had access to an additional beam rifle. This model in particular was famously piloted by Vulture pilot NLL. The Daughtress tank was a bit of a radical departure from the base model, being built by Vultures instead of the UNE, using scavenged parts that they could get their hands on, which ended up giving the Daughtress the old Zaku tank treatment. The legs were replaced with tank treads, alongside removing the arms and installing a pair of 5-barrel 70mm Gatling guns. One of these units was purchased by the family of Wit Sao to protect their farmlands during harvest season. Finally, we come to the most advanced model of Daughtress. Designed during the build-up to the 8th Space War, the new UNE developed this brand new mobile suit known as the Daughtress Neo, based on the Daughtress's original design. This unit was not only taller than the original, but also was capable of in-atmospheric flight without assistance and housed several new weapons, including a beam rifle and 2 wired beam guns mounted onto the arms, which could deploy beam blades known as beam cutters for close quarters combat. While the Daughtress Neo was utilized by the new UNE during the 8th Space War, they didn't produce them in enough numbers, and several older model basic Daughtresses were also deployed. The old Daughtress models were also widely used by the Vultures found throughout the entirety of the world, with several having various color schemes and different armaments depending on what the Vultures could get their hands on. And that's the Daughtress. Again, it's a relatively basic and simple design overall, but I do find it quite charming. Plus, the high-grade model kit is one of my favorite grunt suits ever made. Now, if only Bandai would release more modern high grades of Gundam X mobile suits. Give me the Daughtress Neo, Bandai! Anyway, that's all from me. Like, comment, subscribe, and do all that good stuff. And until next time, this is Nerd Trooper, signing off.